This is 6 Minutes, the seriously international daily newscast. It's Thursday, June 12th. I'm Anne-Sophie Gonini. People are leaving work in Busan while it's the overnight hours in Winnipeg. Here in the Worldcrunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday. These are the latest headlines. Protest over immigration raids spread across the US. A London-bound passenger plane crashes after takeoff in India. And our daily quiz question comes from Denmark. Our top story today is Iran's announcement that it will establish a new enrichment facility in a secure location. This comes after the UN nuclear watchdog's 35-nation Board of Governors declared at the International Atomic Energy Agency that Tehran has failed to meet its nuclear non-proliferation obligations for the first time in 20 years. This comes as US personnel are being moved out of the Middle East amid heightened tensions with Iran, as US intelligence indicates that Israel is making preparations for a strike against Iranian nuclear facilities. In the US, demonstrations against federal immigration enforcement raids and President Donald Trump's move to mobilize the National Guard and Marines in Los Angeles are spreading nationwide and are expected to continue into the weekend. Our More Than a Minute feature today focuses on how a flood of misinformation is influencing the events unfolding in California. French analyst Pierre Haski notes that the political confrontation between US President Donald Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom is exacerbated by social networks and artificial intelligence. Haski's France Inter piece was translated by Worldcrunch, and the English audio was produced with automated voice technology. Pierre, tell us more about the images we see coming out of LA.
Il y a les événements de Californie. There are the events in California, and then there's the representation of those events. And the two aren't exactly the same. The deployment of the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles, ordered by Donald Trump, has sparked a political confrontation heightened by social media and artificial intelligence. This is inevitable today because the real battleground is not the territory itself, but the minds of millions of citizen spectators. From the moment Trump decided to act, after commandos from ICE, the anti-immigration police, were met with hostile protests during raids on undocumented migrants, the conflict shifted to a battle of images and symbols. It's one expression of the ongoing culture war in the United States. The clash quickly became personalized. On one side, Trump, casting himself as a tough guy, a savior of heartland America. On the other, Gavin Newsom, California's governor, stepping into the role of defender of democracy under threat, as he said on Tuesday, and possibly positioning himself as the Democratic Party's would-be hero ahead of the 2028 presidential race.
What are the politics in the clash between these two personalities?
Cynical as it may sound, that's the real battle behind the tough on crime and anti-immigration rhetoric. Trump seized on the violence in Los Angeles as a way to distract from his failures and to capitalize on one of the few issues where he still enjoys majority support among Americans. Trump is killing two birds with one stone, taking a hard line against the undocumented migrants he has consistently demonized. Remember his claims about Haitians eating dogs and cats, and pointing the finger at soft Democrats, who he claims aren't true American patriots. It's a favorable playing field for him, even though the ICE raids aren't just targeting tattooed gang members, but also workers who've lived in the US for decades, people whose children are American citizens. That's where disinformation comes into play, to support a narrative overwhelmingly to Trump's political advantage.
How is disinformation changing in this moment?
In recent days, American social media has been flooded with dramatic images, many of which turn out to be false. For example, piles of bricks supposedly proving that the riots were premeditated, but the photo was taken somewhere else, or violent scenes lifted directly from Hollywood movies. This disinformation has been boosted by the rise of artificial intelligence and its errors, often referred to as hallucinations. David Colin, author of a book on the information war, points out that LLMs, large language models, should never be used for fact-checking. They are stochastic parrots, he writes, meaning they repeat patterns based on chance. But in 2025, that's how both information and disinformation are spread, especially when the political stakes are high. It's hard to fight and impossible to avoid. The US is a testing ground for the information wars of tomorrow, where technology blurs the line between truth and fiction. Keep that in mind the next time you see an image from California.
Une fois que vous verrez une image de Californie.
In other news, a London-bound Air India plane crashed in a residential area shortly after taking off from Ahmedabad Airport in western India. There were 232 passengers and 12 crew members on board. We're closing things out today with our daily quiz question. Denmark's two largest cities, Copenhagen and Aarhus, have announced they're taking a big step over economic and security concerns. What have they decided to do? A. Launch their own communication satellites. B. Cutting off Microsoft programs. C. Soundproof all saunas. Or D. Unplug the internet. The correct answer is B. Two of Denmark's biggest municipalities are ending their use of Microsoft systems in the latest move by European governments to reduce their reliance on American big tech. That's the latest from around the world. For more of the best of the international press delivered exclusively in English, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain!